Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 10 and compare it against the iPhone 10s and see how both these phones compare in 2024. Now, last year it was interesting because both these phones were still supported with software. Right now, only one is supported with software, which is the iPhone 10s. So that's going to greatly change the way I kind of recommend both these phones. But let's go and see how they compare anyways. If you want to pick up some phones I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off side by side, notoriously both these phones were very, very similar on the exterior. The iPhone 10, which came out in 2017 on the front, had a 5.8-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, and it was a pretty good looking panel. I still feel like it was a pretty good looking panel in this day and age, and there's not really a lot to complain about here. It's a good looking display. You still have the notch up top. Both these phones have it, and there really wasn't a lot to complain about now, to be honest. The lack of 120 hertz, but still, it's actually not that bad of a performing phone. It still actually performs fairly well for like a 7-year-old phone now, which is insane. The iPhone 10s, on the other hand, has the same exact, pretty much the same exact everything. There really wasn't anything on the exterior that the iPhone 10s brought that the iPhone 10 didn't already have. Things like Force Touch were there, things like, the notch and curved glass on the side, like everything is basically the same exact thing going on for both these phones. So kind of keep that in mind, but that's not a bad thing. The 10 looked great, and the 10 has still looked great as well. I think this display got a little bit brighter, but it was almost the exact same thing. Now on the sides, one thing I liked about the 10s was that there was this gold model. I think the gold of the iPhone 10s looked really good. I still love the gold models of phones. The iPhone 10 only had the silver and like black model, but both of them look pretty good. They're both built almost exactly the same way, so they both have like this reflective material right there. The tops and the bottoms are almost the exact same thing. See, we have lightning ports at the bottom of both these things, which look great. And that's another really cool thing going on for both. I like USB-C more, but again, lightning is perfectly fine as well. Now on the back side, you can see we basically have these dual camera setups on both. So you're getting a dual camera setup on both of them, which look great. You're also getting the glass backs here, which is really, really nice as well. There's not really a lot to complain about here either. You're getting wireless charging, and the build quality of both of them is very, very good. Like, I like both these devices, and I do think both look very, very good for the most part. Is one perfect? Obviously not. But both of them look really good, and I don't really have like an insane amount of things to kind of look at between both of them right there when it comes down to both of these. So I would definitely tell you from the exterior, gets a thumbs up for me. I think they're both very, very good looking phones. But the iPhone 10, if you're talking about the outside, it originated it, and the iPhone 10s looks almost exactly like the iPhone 10. So not even really that massive of a difference if you ask me. So that kind of covers it up from the outside there. Now, from the software side, this is the biggest disadvantage I would say about the iPhone 10 right now. This phone is not really supported with software anymore. So it's still getting iOS 16 updates, which is great. So it's still supported on iOS 16, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be getting that next version of software. So it hasn't gotten iOS 17. It's not ever going to get iOS 17, and it's not ever going to get any other software version on top of that. So that's kind of a sad thing, kind of a disadvantage. It is what it is. Like I said before, there's not really anything we can do about it. It would be nice if this phone was still supported, but what are we going to do, right? There's really nothing we can do now. I think it was a good phone when it first came out, but it's been unsupported for so long that it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy this phone. On the flip side, the iPhone 10s is still supported with software, and this is basically the oldest phone I would recommend buying for basically the average person. So if you're trying to go through and actually purchase some sort of device, this is basically like the only device I would recommend buying, at least the oldest device I would recommend buying at this day and age, because it is, of that caliber as of this point. So take it as you will, but that's kind of how I see both these devices from that specific perspective. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both of them. The iPhone 10s has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 10 has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. Let's go and have all the apps in the background, and all of them are cleared out, as you all can tell. So let us get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, 10s here, 10s is here. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Let's go and get into their app stores. 3, 2, 1. Well, this one, the Wi-Fi, I don't know why this one's having a Wi-Fi issue right now. So just load up both of them on both of them, just like so. Let's get into cameras. 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Hopping onto this one. Let's get into photos. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Hopping onto both these settings. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get into something like clock. 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of glitched up on both. I don't know why. Hopping onto both of these, let's get into some other third-party applications. And we have some right here. So we can try something like Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now, again, these apps aren't like massively big or anything, but they're still pretty cool to test. It's pretty important, so we can just kind of like knock them out right now. And so both of them have these weird issues. I don't know what's going on. To me, it looks like the 10 loaded it up faster. I don't know why the 10s was giving me those weird pop-ups. I'm not really too sure why. You know, it is what it is. But you can see the iPhone 10 was a little bit faster there for the most part, in the iPhone 10s a little bit slower. Not really too sure why that ended up happening. It's a very, very weird thing happening on both of these there. Subway Surfers 3, 2, 1. And dude, to me, it looks like the iPhone 10 is the faster one here, and the iPhone 10s is a little bit slower. I don't know why at first I thought it was the iPhone 10 being weird, but you can kind of see that the iPhone 10 was actually significantly faster than something like the iPhone 10s, and that right there is actually very, very insane to me. Having out of both these, even getting out of the app was a little bit glitchier on the iPhone 10s. Let's go and try something like I don't even know what other applications I have in between. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the iPhone 10s was faster there, so finally we're getting some like interesting layovers. But you can even see the iPhone 10s was glitchy like crazy right there. Facebook 3, 2, 1. This one doesn't have internet, so we'll just hop out of this one. Snapchat 3, 2, 1. Okay, hopping out of both of these. It's going into Quizlet 3, 2. Do I even have it here? I don't even think I have it. Dropbox 3, 2, 1. So I really don't know what to tell you. I don't know which one is the faster one here. You know, they both kind of look about the same. It's like kind of all over the place, which is pretty insane. I will probably tell you though, if we're talking about which one is the fastest one every single time, the 10s should theoretically be faster, but the iPhone 10 was actually faster in some cases, which that in and of itself is actually pretty insane to me. So that kind of covers it up there. It's kind of interesting. Maybe I'll do another speed test after this, to be honest. In terms of the cameras though, very similar type of cameras for the most part. There were some differences though. They both have that dual camera setup on the backside. So basically kind of the same thing. And I think the iPhone 10s was the last S iPhone, I just remembered too. Now both of them wide telephoto lenses, 4K at 60 on the back, which is great. The front though, you can do 1080p on the front of the iPhone 10, but the iPhone 10s can do 1080p at 60 frames per second. So that is kind of an advantage of something like the iPhone 10s, that you actually do have that type of capability on something like the iPhone 10s over something like the iPhone 10. So that right there is another really big thing. Now the iPhone 10's camera I feel like is actually very decent for the age. I feel like both these phones have pretty good cameras for how old they are, like 6 years. You know, but compared to something like the iPhone 10, it's not really going to be fair, especially against the iPhone 15 Pro. Video mode, slow mode, portrait mode, square mode, lots of overlapping stuff for sure, but you're not getting any crazy cool features that one phone has over the other one. They're basically almost the same type of camera, although the 10s is theoretically better because you do have 1080p at 60 frames per second, so that is kind of an advantage for this type of device. So with the iPhone 10s, you're still maintaining 10x zoom. I don't know what's going on. You're still getting 10x zoom, no ultra wide sensor here, but it's still okay. Video mode, slow mode, time lapse, portrait mode, panorama mode. There's still a lot of good stuff to like about this type of camera. But like I said, I think the iPhone 10 camera is very similar to this one, but this one is the better one for sure, but like the difference really isn't even that big, to be honest. So to kind of sum it up, what I'll definitely tell you is I definitely would say a device like the iPhone 10s, it's an interesting device to say the least. I think this is a phone that I probably would recommend more people to buy than the 10. I really wouldn't recommend people to buy the 10 anymore unless you're buying a phone for like a short duration. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend buying the iPhone 10 right now. I think the 10s makes a lot more sense because it's still supported with software and it's still on iOS 17. But for literally everyone else, I think probably going up to something like the iPhone, that is still kind of more so supported. Things like the iPhone, 11, iPhone 12, those ones might be giving you a little bit of a better experience than both of these phones. So kind of keep that in mind, but that's kind of how both these phones kind of compare. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.